Well, it's that time again. Ready or not? Ever have a week where you just feel like you can't get ahead? Yeah, that was me this week. So I know it's late, but I told myself I would do these fantasy picks and put them up for you. So I'm doing them anyway, even though this week has gone anything but smoothly. I feel like this week I don't have time to do anything too fancy, so we're just gonna dive right in, starting with the ladies. In the A category this week, had to go with Miki Ando from Japan. She's been probably the most solid in back-to-back performances in the short and long so far of any of the ladies this season. So technically I think she has the solid edge here. We'll see how her component scores hold up, but she's my A-team pick. In the B category, I went with Ksenia Makarova from Russia, who's also Johnny Weir's favorite. He mentions her all the time on Twitter, so a little nod to Johnny. But I went with Ksenia. She had a really strong performance earlier in the season, and she gets better and better every time I see her out. Add in a triple, and she's good to go. She's going to be competitive here. In the C category, really it's a toss-up, but I went with Elena Glebova here, who may have a slight edge, but you know, in this category it's really a toss-up. Had to just pick one, so I went with Elena. In the men's event, this was another tough one. You've got Patrick Chan, Jeremy Abbott, and Tomas Werner in the A category. Pick between those three. I gave the slight edge to Patrick Chan here. He was my pick for the A category, although I feel like Jeremy Abbott could give him a run for his money, especially if Jeremy throws the quad. But Patrick, as we all know, rakes in the program component scores, so I gave him the slight edge, especially if he can be a little bit cleaner than he was in Canada. In the B category, I went with the Japanese man, the young gun here. I went with Hanyu, and he has a lot of potential. He has a lot to look forward to, and in this category, again, it could go any way, but this week I gave it to the young Japanese skater, up and coming, who has a lot to look forward to. And for my C team, another one, just had to pick somebody, and I went with the Russian, Ivan Trikyov. I know I said that wrong, but I'm not even going to try to figure it out right now. It's one of those weeks, you know? So that's my A, B, and C category for the men this week. The pairs competition this week could be a little bit interesting. You've got Amanda Ivora and Mark Ladvig in the A category, along with the reigning world bronze medalists from Russia, and that's Yuko, another name here, Kavaguti, and her partner, Alexander Smirnov. And again, reigning world bronze medalists. I picked them in this category, but it's their first and only Grand Prix of the season, so anything can happen. Amanda and Mark may pull something off here that's pretty spectacular and overtake them, but I went with the Russians here. In the B category, went with the Canadians, who managed a bronze at Skate Canada earlier this season. That's Paige Lawrence and Rudy Swigers. They have that Canadian charm, and I look for them to do well in this category. And in the C category, we've got the young American team of Brittany Simpson and Nathan Miller, who they have something really nice, and I feel like they are just beginning to come to their own, but this category for them looks pretty good, and if they can put together clean performances, they should be good in my C category. Fingers crossed. And once again, leave it to ice dance to wrap things up with some tough competition. But in this case, I made some pretty easy picks, I think, but I could be proven wrong shortly as the competition gets underway in just a few hours. But in the A category, I went with the Italians, the veterans in this group, Federica Failla and Massimo Scali. They placed below the Russians in this category at Skate Canada, was it? I believe. Regardless, they placed below them earlier in the season, but I think they made some silly mistakes, tripped on her skirt a couple of times in the short and the free dance. I don't think they'll be making those mistakes again. I've said that before, and it's come back to haunt me. But I feel like they're the veterans with the experience, and they will correct the mistakes and do well. In the B category, I went with Tessa Virtue and Scott Moyer 2.0, as people are fondly referring to them. Alexandra Paul and Mitchell Islam from Canada. They are just wonderful, and they're charming, and they're polished, and they don't necessarily have the technical elements that Virtue and Moore or some of the top skaters would have, but they have a nice quality to their skating, and they're charming to watch. So Paul and Islam are my B category choice. And finally, last but not least, in the C category for ice dance, this time I went with the American brother-sister team, Madison and Kiefer Hubble. There's not a whole lot of competition in this C category, only 2 teams listed, so 50-50 shot, and this time I picked the Americans, so we'll see how that turns out as the competition gets underway, like I said, just a few hours from now. I know, that was a little rough, but like I said, one of those weeks, and I am unfortunately not going to be around for much of the competition this weekend, as I have a shoot that I have to be at bright and early in the morning, all day long. May get called in Saturday as well. Who knows what's going to happen with my work schedule. It's been crazy week. So, pics are done, blog is up, preview ready to go, just in the nick of time. Check it out. Follow me on Twitter, although I won't be tweeting play-by-play. I will still be posting comments, thoughts, updates, all of that jazz, and maybe a blog or 2 here and there throughout the weekend. So check me out on Twitter, on the blog, check out my other videos. Have a good weekend. Enjoy the competition. See ya!